The beginning of the end of illusions and pain meditation, based on A Course in Miracles teachings. Let's first take a quick brief look at the benefits of meditation. Breathing affects the nervous system, brainwave patterns, the lymphatic system, blood flow, blood pressure, the heart, our emotional state, and more. In addition, we can survive 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, yet we can only survive for 3 minutes without oxygen. That's how critical oxygen, or breathing, is. In addition to that, Dr. Masaru Emoto of Japan proved in experiments that water responds very differently in extremely dissimilar ways to positive and negative words. So the oxygen we take in from our environment, our breathing, and the thoughts we think are very important. Meditation context. Keeping your attention on or in your body will keep you in the present moment. All guilt, regret, resentment, and anger is based on the past. All worry, anxiety, and fear is centered on some point in the future. In the present moment, none of that fear-based negativity exists. The Course in Miracles text is 1,754 pages long, and the main premise is nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Each of my meditation videos will all have from 7 to 10 A Course in Miracles quotations, and after each quotation, I will have a short meditation. Here is the first Course in Miracles quotation. A Course in Miracles, Insights and Quotations Meditation. Quotation. You may cause a dream, but never will you give it real effects, for that would change its cause, and it is this you cannot do. The dreamer of a dream is not awake, but does not know he sleeps. A Course in Miracles. We're going to use the 4-7-8 method. The 4-7-8 breathing technique involves breathing in for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 7 seconds, and then exhaling for 8 seconds. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. The world you see depicts exactly what you thought you did, except that now you think that what you did is being done to you. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. You think you made a place of safety for yourself. You think you made a power that can save you from all the fearful things you see in dreams. It is not so. Your safety lies not there. What you give up is merely the illusion of protecting illusions, and it is this you fear and only this. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. Christ is the link that keeps you one with God and guarantees that separation is no more than an illusion of despair, for hope forever will abide in Him. Your mind is part of His, and His of yours. He is the part in which God's answer lies, where all decisions are already made and dreams are over. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. He has not hid himself from you while you have wandered off a little while from him. He does not cherish the illusions which you hold about yourself. He knows his Son and wills that he remain as part of him, regardless of his dreams, regardless of his madness, that his will is not his own. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. The body will not stay. The body is a dream. Like other dreams, it sometimes seems to picture happiness, but can quite suddenly revert to fear, where every dream is born. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. Without the idea of death, there is no world. All dreams will end with this one. This is salvation's final goal, the end of all illusions. And in death are all illusions born. What can be born of death and still have life? But what is born of God and still can die? A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. How does one overcome illusions? Surely not by force or anger, nor by opposing them in any way. Merely by letting reason tell you that they contradict reality. They go against what must be true. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. In-breath. Hold. Out breath. The question posed at the beginning of this meditation was, what is the beginning of the end of illusions and pain? The quotations that best answer this question will be shown here now. The text that I highlighted in green says, Christ is the link that keeps you one with God and guarantees that separation is no more than an illusion of despair, for hope forever will abide in Him. Okay, so that seems to imply that separation, is the illusion, one of the illusions, and so it might make sense to begin to question separation and to know that it says here, Christ is the link that keeps you connected with God. The question posed at the beginning of this meditation was, what is the beginning of the end of illusions and pain? The quotations that best answer this question will be shown here now. The text that I highlighted in green says, without the idea of death, there is no world. All dreams will end with this one. This is salvation's final goal, the end of all illusions. That appears to be telling you that the idea of death is an illusion and a dream, and that salvation's goal is the end of all illusions, the end of all dreams, and that means it might make sense to begin to question the idea of death. And once again, the question posed at the beginning of this meditation was, what is the beginning of the end of illusions and pain? Here is another quotation that best answers this question, and that is the text highlighted in green, which says, how does one overcome illusions? Surely not by force or anger, nor by opposing them in any way, merely by letting reason tell you that they contradict reality. So that seems to imply that reason tells you reality is being contradicted. It might then make sense to use reason to question reality. Space Eternity Meditation. We're going to take an imaginary trip with your consciousness, and during this imaginary trip, we'll leave your body behind. To begin, see yourself standing in a large grass field. You've been given the ability to travel into space and to go anywhere you like. You don't have to worry about oxygen, collisions, or anything else, because only your consciousness will be traveling into space. You now have the intention and decide to go straight up into the sky. You are now flying up into the clouds. You then decide to pause and take a look around. You look down and see cities, streets, towns, and hills. Now you have the intention and decide to continue flying straight up. You are now in outer space, and it's mostly darkness with lights from stars and distant planets. You then slow down, pause to a standstill, and take a look around. At this point, you decide to go straight ahead in a horizontal direction. Meteors, planets, and other phenomena are racing by you. You then slow down, pause to a standstill, and take a look around. You again decide to continue in the same direction. You continue, and you have now traveled a significant distance while moving extremely fast. You then think to yourself, when will I reach the end of this universe or of this solar system? How will I know when I've gone as far as I can possibly go? You then realize that either there is an upcoming wall of some sort, or space just continues on. And you think to yourself, if there is some sort of a wall ahead of me, what about straight above me? Is there some sort of a wall there too? And what about straight below me and behind me? Is this universe or solar system contained in some sort of a box? Is outer space confined by a box with walls? And if so, what is behind the walls of this box? You think to yourself, if outer space is confined by a box and I go through one of the walls of the box into outer space again, then when does that space end? Is there another box enclosing the box that I just exited from? You then realize that the only thing that makes sense is that there are no walls or boxes in outer space, that space just keeps on going endlessly for an infinite distance. You realize that infinity is the only thing that makes sense when it comes to outer space. Okay, we're going to do a timelessness meditation. And again, take long, slow, deep breaths, but very relaxed. Don't make an effort of it. Okay, we're going to take a look at time now. To begin, see yourself standing on a long, almost endless sandy beach. You hear a loud, gentle, kind voice, and it says, each grain of sand on this beach is equal to a 100-year lifetime. And there are millions of beaches just like this one, with trillions of grains of sand on each one. How many lifetimes do you think you have? You have an infinite number of lifetimes for all of eternity. As you breathe in, see your consciousness diving down into a grain of sand. As you dive down into it, you see that everything is large, and you see that it resembles planet Earth. There are oceans and mountains and vegetations within this grain of sand that you just took a dive into. You keep diving down into the single grain of sand and feel as though you've been there before. It starts to look very familiar. You then realize that you will be starting a new life there, an entire new lifetime from birth to death. And you remember what you were told, that each grain of sand is equivalent to one lifetime, and that there are millions of beaches with trillions of grains of sand on each beach. You begin to sense what timelessness is. You begin to understand how time can just keep going on and continue endlessly, just like outer space. You realize that you are not the body that you see, that you instead are the spirit that surrounds the body. You remember that you've been told that you are energy, and that energy cannot be created or destroyed. You realize that you are an infinite being living in a timeless universe with no end. The body is just a costume. Now, let's take a more in-depth look at the benefits of meditating. Why meditate? A look at the power of the breath on the nervous system, on brainwave patterns, on the lymphatic system, on blood flow, blood pressure, the heart, and more. Article title: How Breathing Calms Your Brain by David DeSalvo on psychologytoday.com. Quote, breathing regulates your blood pressure. Over time, using controlled breathing to lower blood pressure and heart rate may lower risk of stroke and cerebral aneurysm, and generally decreases stress on blood vessels, which is a big plus for cardiovascular health. Another article titled, Breathing in Waves, Understanding Respiratory Brain Coupling as a Gradient of Predictive Oscillations, ScienceDirect.com. Quotation: Oscillations are a fundamental organizing principle in biological organisms, governing both neutral processing and bodily rhythms. Prior research involving animal and human models indicates that the rhythmic activity of breathing directly impacts neural oscillations across multiple brain regions, behaviors, and frequency bands. Another article titled, Breathing and Circulation, a quick lesson on these processes, infolific.com. Article quote, Oxygen is vital for all metabolic processes. As it enters the body, it will travel down the trachea, which is the throat, through the bronchioles, the tubes leading to the lungs, and into the lungs. The oxygen is now carried through the blood to the heart, where it is pumped throughout the body. Another article titled Deep Breathing and the Lymphatic System by L.D. Wallace at lymphaticyoga.net. Quote, Deep breathing and the lymphatic system are closely connected. However, the art of deep breathing goes beyond technique or mechanical movement. Breathing is our source of life. Breathing patterns also reflect the quality of life. For instance, shallow breathing both under-oxygenates the body and creates physical and mental stress, which are triggered by the accumulation of toxins in the body. Another article titled, Here's the Longest People Have Survived Without Air, Food, Water, Sunshine, or Sleep by Sean Kane, BusinessInsider.com. Quote, How long can we survive without the basics? Every person and situation is different, though the rule of threes gets at the desperate nature of what our bodies need. 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. That's the most the body can sustain, being without. Okay, so once again, breathing affects the nervous system, brainwave patterns, the lymphatic system, blood flow, blood pressure, the heart, our emotional state, and more. And we can only survive for 3 minutes without oxygen. That lets you know the importance of oxygen and breathing. Present moment meditation. Meditation context. Keeping your attention on or in your body will keep you in the present moment. All guilt, regret, resentment, and anger is based on the past. All worry, anxiety, and fear is centered on some point in the future. In the present moment, none of that fear-based negativity exists. To remain present, keep your attention in your body. In breath. Hold. Out breath. To remain present, keep your attention in or on your feet. In breath. Hold. Out breath. To remain present, keep your attention in or on your ankles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. To remain present, keep your attention in or on your knees. In breath. Hold. Out breath. To remain present, keep your attention in or on your thighs. In breath. Hold. Out breath. To remain present, keep your attention in or on your hips. In breath. Hold. Out breath. To remain present, keep your attention in or on your stomach. In breath. Hold. Out breath. To remain present, keep your attention in or on your chest. In breath. Hold. Out breath. To remain present, keep your attention in or on your neck. In breath. Hold. Out breath. To remain present, keep your attention in or on your head. In breath. Hold.